Hey there, finance friends. Welcome back. So, in this video, I want to touch very briefly on credit cards. Okay? Let's do one little quick step back. Let's remember, take a big step back, that when you want to spend money, you can either spend your own money or you can spend someone else's money. If you spend someone else's money, it can either be in the form of open-ended credit or in the form of closed-ended credit. Okay, so we're talking here at the big level about choices on consumption and how to pay for that consumption. So when you consume and spend money, you can either spend your own money, which you have in your own savings and your own cash accounts, or you can spend someone else's money, which implies that you're borrowing and taking on debt. Okay, if you take on debt, that can either be open-ended debt or closed-ended debt. When we talk about credit cards, we're talking about open-ended debt, okay? Also known as revolving debt. Why is it called revolving debt? Well, here's a really simple way to think about it. Let's just say that you apply and you get approved and you get a brand new credit card, and your credit card has a $10,000 credit limit. Okay, good for you. So you apply for this card, you get approved, and you have a $10,000 credit limit. Okay. The day that you get the card, you've never charged anything, so your balance is going to be zero. Well, your credit limit is 10,000. So your available credit is the difference. If your limit is 10,000, you got no balance, you have the full 10,000 available to spend. Okay. Now let's say that you go out and next month you spend, or not even next month, you go out today and you buy something that cost you $2,000. Well, now you still have the limit of 10,000. Now your available credit falls to 8,000. Okay. Now let's say that you go and you send a $100 payment into your credit card company. So you say, I owe 2,000. You get your statement. You send $100 in to pay part of it down. Now your balance falls to 1,900. Given a $10,000 limit, your available credit is 8,100. So it's revolving credit because you've got this limit and your choices on spending, which increase your balance, or making payments, which decreases your balance, translates into the available credit that you have. That's why it's called revolving credit. It's also called open-ended credit because you can spend $0 or up to 10,000. It's open. It's up to you. And you can spend that at basically any place you want for pretty much any item you want. Once again, it's open and it's up to you. Okay, so that's there. Let's kind of talk a little bit about how credit cards actually work. And to understand how credit cards actually work, you have to understand the ideas of billing cycles, grace periods, and interest, which we'll also call APR. Okay, let's give a simple example. Let's say that you have a credit card, you just applied. So let's say that you applied. Um, you're going to get your credit card and you're going to be informed that you have a billing cycle. So the billing cycle is the period of time that the credit card is tracking. Okay. It's the period of time by which the period of time for which your statement is issued. It's usually like 30 days, a month. So let's just say, to make this easy, that your billing cycle is April 16th to May 16th. Okay? Let's just set your billing cycle. We would call April 16th your opening statement date, and we would call May 16th your statement closing date. And this period of time here, from April 16th to May 16th, this is your statement period. At the end of the statement period, so on May 16th, the credit card company will prepare a list of all the charges that you made, of all the stuff that you bought, and that list will be your billing statement. So basically, any amounts that you charged in between April 16th and May 16th, any of those charges would be indicated, any of the charges during the statement period would be included on your billing statement. You have to pay it off. That leads us into the next piece. Your bill is typically due about 21 days after, usually 21 to 25 days after your statement closes. So let's say that your statement closing date was May 16th. Well, you may not have to make your payment until maybe like, I don't know, June 10th, let's say. This period right here, from May 16th to June 10th, this is called your grace period. Because think about it. The credit card company is issuing you some grace. You made charges in this window of time here. They're not making you pay until here. So this window of time right here, you can basically keep your cash, collect a little bit of interest on it, and not have to pay them off yet. Okay, so we have the statement opening date, the statement closing date, the bill due date. This is your statement period. This is your grace period. Now, here's where it gets interesting. So you got to be really careful about this. So let's just say, for the hell of it, that over this statement period, you charged, we'll just say, $1,000 worth of stuff. So you're going to get a billing statement with a $1,000 balance. Question is, when do you have to pay it by? And we know the answer is you have to pay it by June 10th. You've got a little bit of grace period. But the real question is, how much do you have to pay? And this is where credit cards also earn their title revolving credit. Very important that you understand that you have basically three payment options. Option number one, you can pay the minimum payment due. Every credit card has their own policy, but usually the minimum payment due is sometimes right around roughly 2% of the balance. Some credit cards will say, oh, it's 2% of the balance or $25, something like that. Let's just say right now, for the hell of it, that your credit card has a 2% minimum due provision. Well, 2% times $1,000 is just 20 bucks. And you'd think, all right, this credit card company loves me. I get to buy all this shit right now. I get all this consumption, and I only got to pay a little bit. Slow down. We're going to get back to this in a bit, but that's the minimum payment option. Option number two, you can pay the full balance due. In other words, you say, I charged $1,000 worth of stuff. I've got $1,000 billing statement. I'm paying 1,000, taking your balance back down to zero every period, taking your credit limit back up to its full amount every period. So you can pay the minimum due, you can pay it in full, or you can pay something in between. So you might say, okay, I think this month I owe 1,000. I think I'll pay 500. You pay 500. Okay. So you have three options. But here's where it gets brutal. Credit cards almost always charge very, very high interest rates. Credit cards charge very high APRs. I have one of my credit card statements in front of me, and I have pretty good credit and a pretty long credit history. So I'm a pretty safe bet, thankfully. And my credit card charges an APR of 19.49% APR. This is high. And if you miss a payment, or if you have bad credit history, or if you're a newer, younger borrower, or if you have a low credit score, you might have an APR upwards of 24%. I've seen some credit cards as high as 28%. Think about what a 24% interest rate means. If you have a 24% interest rate, that's APR, the A stands for annual. Remember, the A stands for annual. If you're paying 24% per year, you divide that by 12 and you're paying 2% per month in interest. You can imagine if you've got several $1,000s, that's a lot of interest going out. And we know how systems work. We know how systems work. The more interest is going out, where's my map? The more your debt payments are high, the less you have for future you. I wanted to point out something else here. In this case, we just said, let's say that you had a 24% APR and 24 divided by 12 is a 2% annual interest penalty, interest rate. If you have $1,000 balance and you're paying 2% per month, your monthly interest is $20. Well, check this out, Buttercup. That's what this credit card company also offered to you as your minimum payment. Paying the minimum payment is a sucker's bet. The minimum payment is designed by the credit card company to keep you in debt slavery. Think about it. Again, the company says, oh, we want to help you. We'll let you pay 2%. You pay $20. Well, your interest was 2%. So that 20 you sent in, it only went to interest. It did not even chip away at the 1,000 you owe. So next month, assuming that you don't even charge anything new, you still owe another 1,000. And you'll still have 20 of interest, and you'll still get away with only paying 20, and you are now a perpetual debt slave. So avoid the minimum payment trap. And there's something even worse. Well, it could be better, it could be worse, depending on you. We said that credit cards charge high APRs. So the goal then is avoid paying interest. And here's the other really magical key to credit cards. If you pay the full balance, I'm going to say it again. If you pay your full balance due before your due date, you do not pay any interest. That's also why it's called the grace period. As long as you make the full balance due paid, Okay, as long as you make the full payment for the full balance due. Once again, you had $1,000 balance. If you pay that full thousand by this due date, you pay no interest. You only pay credit card interest if you pay the minimum payment or something below the full payment. So, we have a powerful tool that can simplify your life and make your life easier if you follow one big rule, actually two big rules. Charge within your means and pay that damn thing off every month. If you can structure your life, automate your life, and apply discipline, you can get all the benefits of credit cards. And there's many benefits that come with them and never pay a dollar in interest. But it means that you have to understand how the billing cycles work, how APR works. You have to understand the grace period, and you have to commit to paying the balance in full every month and avoiding that sucker's game, avoiding that snare, avoiding that trap called the minimum payment. The credit card companies did not design that to help you. They designed it to enrich themselves and keep you in perpetual debt slavery. So that's how credit cards work. They're a great tool. I love mine. I use them responsibly. I get travel rewards and points. I like that a lot. But you have to be real careful because when you're talking about these really high interest rates, even a couple of months of not paying that full balance, of only paying the minimum or something in between, you're now applying a lot of balance to a high interest rate. And if you're not careful, my friends, you know how the systems map works. You're going to be on a treadmill that you might not be able to get off. Okay? So that's credit cards. Thanks for tuning in. In our next video, we'll talk a little bit about other types of loans. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you then.